Meeting.
It's really because I was afraid of the big bacon. I don't have any experience with bacon. What I've heard is that I'm just saying, I've heard that. I like it. Yeah. Oh, really?
Maybe the story pictures.
I have those pictures.
Mine's perfect.
All right. So whoever that was, who that was, they were really long.
First grade. Whoever it was doesn't know how to work.
It goes into sleep. You gotta remember. Yeah, that's right.
I didn't get a grabber keeper until like 6 years. Well, it didn't happen.
You were logged in and I never trusted
Dan not wanting to do work.
You're looking to replace yourself with a robot, aren't you?
I'm a good engineer.
Right, but they're the ones that are totally. I'm sure there was any signs of your team that don't know you. Because these are chances.
We have some of the best.
Right? Is that the way you took it?
Yeah. Okay. Replace the whole machine?
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great.
I use it as a test.
I think this is a really good point.
Somebody can lay it out applications.
I'm going to store it there for a little bit.
Technically, approximately.
I would bet they
Came with the machine. We bought out the machine.
Any perfume? I covered. You gotta bring it by.
Well, if that's what it takes to motivate it, it's right over there.
Let's get with Joe.
Oh, found out. I found out this morning. Watching them, and they come up with
Shift lips and that.
No, Ashley. No, it's not.
Would you like to make some Facebook postings?
Yeah. I like it.
Evil's turn.
We have, is everything working? Like the video and stuff, right?
Oh,
Is there, are all things functioning?
yeah, no, it looks like we're,
No delays, sorting?
no, John's disconnected to the stream right this second.
Okay. Well, then we will start. Are we ready to go? Can folks hear me on the bridge? All right, good. Okay, well, we will get started. We're going to have a bit of a shortened meeting this week, so we're just going to give a quick couple of updates. Oh, hold on. I got to do this. I feel like I have one of those. Thanks. Okay, all right, so quick. We've been, as everybody knows, we've been doing a search for a CFO for about 3 or 4 months now. We had our first round of candidates, got kind of close, and then found out a couple of things that through the reference checks we probably didn't want to add these people to our team. So, John Amin, at our offsite last month, John Amin had an idea that he'd worked with a gentleman at Dialogic who was a really good guy but was retired and often helped out companies in an interim capacity, which I know Tony will be very happy to have a little bit of help. So Jonathan and I both spoke with him, and he is amenable to come down and do some interim stuff with us. It's the same thing I did when I first came in. So he is going to come do that. Now, the difference is this guy does not have any desire to have a full-time job, but his name's Tom Amato. He negotiated the sale of Dialogic, was the CFO at Dialogic when Dialogic was sold to Intel. I really like him. I think he's got a lot of great experience. Tony spoke with him. Tony thought he had some good things that he could add to the team. He's very strategic in the way he thinks about finance, so I'm pretty excited. I've outlined the project, and now it's just a matter of sorting out the details of getting him to sign it and everything. So that is good news for all of us because there's a lot of things that we need to get taken care of, particularly from a fundraising perspective and just building a plan for next year that Tony just simply doesn't have the bandwidth to do. So when he shows up, I think we're probably going to get it signed by Friday, and then he's going on vacation with his family. That's a pre-planned thing the following week. But then he'll probably be down here that I think it's the first week of October or the second week of October. Either way, definitely very good news. We still have a lot of strong candidates in the pipeline. I just want us to get somebody in the short term that can help. And he's done this for a lot of other companies in this capacity, so he knows how to kind of get in and have a big impact pretty quickly. So I'm excited, and you guys I think, will benefit a lot from him. So more to come on him. The Gartner visit yesterday, everybody I'm sure probably saw us in here. We had Bernie Elliott down for a full day. It's part of our relationship with them. And just remind everybody that's the company that puts out that market scope. They influence a lot of the higher-end buyers, so he frequently gets asked for questions about recommendations on what types of companies should companies go to when they're evaluating IVR decisions, that sort of thing. And it's also our opportunity to sort of reaffirm our credibility with them and say, hey, we are a good person or a good company to recommend. I think we put our best foot forward. As far as a return value, I think there's still some to be realized value-wise. He gave us a bunch of ideas on other analysts that we should be talking to in different markets like business intelligence, because business intelligence, so since we offer VO can sit on top of Cognos, Business Objects, a lot of those companies, that's not something that people are aware of on a broad scale, so he thought we should talk to the analysts in charge of those. So things like that, and then also, because of our big focus on service, we kind of got into a conversation and a debate about Net Promoter and its value and that sort of thing, and there's some analysts that are focused on that there, so we're going to speak with those folks as well. But the big thing was that we have, which I'll talk a little bit more about, but either way, Gartner, it was I think for the value for us on the backside, I think we have to just see what happens or comes from those additional conversations with other analysts in other parts of the business. But again, he was very positive about Boxeo. I know he got very excited about Phono when we talked through that, so that was good. And RJ and Dan made sure to give him a beer on the way back to the data center, so he came back very happy. But yeah, I think it was a good visit overall. As far as PCI, we got our first evaluation back, or the assessment, and we're going to have to, which I'm getting ahead of myself, I may just click through a couple of these slides, but we're going to have a short-term and a long-term strategy on this, because we have to get it done, particularly for choir in the UK. So we've got to figure out what our plan is there, but there's a lot of work to be done based on the initial assessment, which is a good thing because we need to get this done as a prep for SAS 70, because that will be also a lot of additional work and a lot of operational changes for the company. So this will be our first step towards that, but a lot more to come from that one. One thing we're going to start doing that I used to do, and it occurred to me last week when John was giving his Darwin versus diversity? Was that last week or was that 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago. Well, what had occurred to me, so Denny came up to me afterwards and said, hey, I thought it was really good that Jonathan did that because a lot of folks don't have a lot of interaction with him and kind of know him. And so what I used to do to sort of combat that, because that's absolutely, as we grow, that's always going to be a problem, is I would always take all the new folks to lunch and then anyone who got a promotion. And that was just a quarterly thing that we would do, because first of all, it kept me close to what was going on and the new talent we were bringing in, and also just new ideas and fresh perspectives. But then also calling attention to the folks that are getting promoted. That's definitely something we want to acknowledge and get your feedback, because you've obviously been doing a lot of great things to impact the business. So let's hear what your thoughts are. So we are going to have our first one scheduled. Actually, is not for the newbies yet, but for the quarterly promotions. We're going to try to catch everyone that's gotten promotion this year. And then we'll start doing it on a more consistent basis, so the groups are smaller. But that should be on Thursday, so I'll actually be reaching out to you to invite you to that. We're going to go to...
Yeah, I put the invite out.
Oh, perfect. Good. So those of you who've gotten a promotion this year, you should have gotten an invite. And if you haven't gotten an invite, please let us know or let your leader know so that we make sure we get you on the list. Because we had some problems with tracking that because of our fabulous relationship with, what was their name again? Ulti Pro. So, which we're switching out. So, that's good. And then we're going to do the newbie one next week. So that should be a good one. We'll try to catch everyone new from this year as well. And then we'll start doing it more consistently. Then we're going to have a Q12 update from Ryan, our trusty guy who's been doing a lot. So the one thing that I'll say that I haven't already touched on here is the Gartner Symposium. That is another new trade show that we've never participated in. The audience is more of a CIO decision maker, so it's more of the business type folks, which is going to be a change in the way that we position ourselves a little bit, just as far as how we talk about what we do, that sort of thing. But that's coming up in October, so there's a lot of work that Kim's putting into that to get ready for that one. But that should be something hopefully that will yield some different types of leads. It will be a very different audience versus speech tech. Obviously, that's going to be a bigger focus for more of the sales guys. We've got to make sure we get a lot of folks there. It's definitely not as technical of an audience. They're thinking more about, at a strategic level, how are they using their technology to solve problems and things like that. So, more to come on that. And then PCI, I kind of gave you guys an update on that. There will be a lot more to come, but I just wanted to let everyone know that this is something that is definitely a very important part of our operations, and we need to give it the attention necessary, particularly when you guys are getting asked for various ways to contribute to the project that will be associated with coming, sort of hitting the risk assessment. And then it'll also lead into SAS 70. So, with that, I will turn it over to Ryan. Oh, wait! I almost forgot. I can't believe this. So, with new folks, we used to do a thing where you would have to give a poem, or say a poem. And somewhere along the line, that went away. I'm not saying we have to do this, but I do like getting folks up in front, sort of saying something about themselves so we get introduced to them, because I'm a big fan of that. So Denny, because he has now recently, and which I'm sorry if I'm stealing a little bit of your thunder from your Q12 update, recently has gone from being a contractor to now full-time Boxeo, so he will be leading all the training at the school. And he's going to come on to me, he's written a poem. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to have to do this, but I do like, we used to make people sing a song at Rackspace, so, I'm up for all sorts of public embarrassment, but not everybody is.
response certainly is going to have some bearing on whether anybody else gets brave enough to do this again.
So show some support.
But I'd like to tell you how this all came to be with the old box sale tradition of noogie poetry. I've had my own business for about 20 years, so the idea of a real job was loaded with fears. I've known JT since he was a kid, and have watched all the amazing things he did. At Rob Patton's wedding, we talked quite a bit, and I asked to help him if there was ever a fit. Before the first summit, things were running behind, so John asked me to help if some time I could find. After that, I got a call from Ryan one day, and he told me he was going to have to be away. He said he was going to have surgery on his back and asked me to help keep NetOps on track. Of course, this was the days before we had Paul, but I had Lincoln and Bender and Deb I could call. I filled in for him while he was gone and started to learn what was going on. After that, I got sick and had some fear as the economy crashed and my clients disappeared. So last year, John, Ryan, and I had lunch, and I told them I'd like to help a bunch. Since that time, I've hung around on this floor, helping Ryan with training and much, much more. So after trying my best to be a good fit, as of today, I'm finally legit.
That ball.
That's a good one.
You set the bar pretty high, Bob.
I know, everybody else can feel the pressure.
Yeah, nobody wants to do it now.
That's good, that's good. We like that. We want people who can rise to the occasion.
That was fantastic. Thank you. Very pleased to have you legit and on board. I think no one more so than you. All right, so I just want to give a quick update on where we are with some of the Q12 progress. I know we've been talking about this a bit, but one of the things we really want to make sure we're doing as we're doing all this work is communicating back to everybody and continuing that feedback loop on, are we doing the right things, what else could we be doing? So just real quick, the main things to talk about that we were going to do. Get everyone a review by the end of September. The review forms we went through, we had a bunch of feedback after the last round of reviews. We added a couple specific things to try to help. Specifically, people wanted to know, am I an A, a D, or a C? Really clearly on a piece of paper. Tell me. What are the top 3 things I need to be doing to improve and grow or get things back on track or move to that next level or evolve my career? So we have the top 3 focus areas we added. And we also added your strengths, so that we're making sure we talk about how StrengthsFinder plays in, and we're pulling that into the conversation of these reviews. Right now, leaders are working on the Keep, Stop, Start. I've had a couple sent past me for just review, hey, is this looking good? Are we doing the right thing? And I think we're on track. We need to start talking with people, so that should start happening in the next, as early as this week, we should start having those conversations. The culture class. This is a bigger class that Denny's put a lot of work in on. We've looked at really what we want to try to get folks through. The newbie class has been the template for it, but one of the new things we wanted to do is go through and talk about some of those Boxeo-isms. Some of the sayings and phrases and ideas that we have around, kind of like a mini version of a bunch of topics like John's diversity and Darwinianism speech. Not as involved, not as deep, not as long, but talk about a number of these ideas and themes that run through. We've got a list of about 20 of them that we've put together as a first draft, and we're working that into the material now. Last week, we put up the explanation of the Obsession Award. If you guys have gone there, have any questions, I got one bit of feedback, said, hey, we could do this. So we may be beefing that up. The next set, if you're regularly working multiple operating systems, getting a new machine, there's good news, bad news. Some groups have already gotten back the list of equipment that they need. Those are the groups that said, I don't need anything. So if you need machines, make sure you're talking to your manager, your leader, and that we're getting that information pushed back to Rob and myself as far as fulfilling that for IT purposes. But we have heard back from some folks saying, I'm all good. If you need them, start talking because we want to start getting those ordered next month. The centralized backup system, I know more and more people are using that. Rob's been costing out what it's going to require to have the full system in place. We'll have that spec'd out this week, and we should be on target for starting to place the orders for that next week. So that's moving along well. Hire additional IT and HR support. we have a job posting up for a global director of HR. Julia's been helping me go through the resumes. We have over 400 resumes for that position. So amongst that, we have some really good candidates and a lot more that maybe aren't good candidates for Voxeo. But we're starting to move that process along. And on the IT side, this isn't really new support, but it is kind of an interesting thing that came up as a result of starting to talk about some of this. Mr. Patton and Michael Jang over in Voxeo China finally got everything aligned last week and talked about this repository for the Allhands. Voxeo China hasn't really been able to get these reliably on a regular basis. So a lot of the stuff we've been talking about hasn't been well communicated out there. But as of last week, we got a number of the old Allhands posted. We'll have this one posted. Hi, Voxeo China. Everybody say hi, Voxeo China.
Hi, Voxeo China.
They'll get to hear this week. And that's a significant improvement. The longer-term actions, I think last week talked a little bit about making them a priority. Part of the impetus for going ahead and bringing Denny on full-time was really a focus on that communication. Right? So this was one of those things we've been talking about and trying to find the right alignment for a while. And with all the work Denny did with Q12 and a lot of the just communication channels that were built through that, we said, hey, it's a good opportunity to bring Denny on and have him focus in that area and through the education and a bunch of other things he was working on. But that was really the push for that. So it's great to be able to say we're making progress on that one as well. And lastly, Dan still needs help finding candidates, places in your references over. 2 referrals so far.
2 referrals,
Awesome.
good.
Good deal. So with that, we're done. Quick all hands.
We're good. So, everybody report sales and they're ready for push. This is the big one. Get love and deal with those.